In this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how you can integrate different types of instructor to student interaction within your course. One of the best ways to implement instructor interactions to your students would be to create announcements. Announcements were really great for reminding students that they have an assignment due, or say for instance a lot of students were confused on a certain concept. You can add clarification to the entire class through an announcement. Once you create your announcement, you can also send a copy of the announcement to the students. So whenever you're creating an announcement, I would highly recommend using this option so that way you've already hit the students twice. To get to the announcements, you click on Course Tools and then click Announcements. Another way to facilitate instructor to student learning and interaction would be to have discussions, journals, and wiki assignments. I'm going to show you some examples of where they have been integrated into an already existing course at Savannah Tech. So I'm going to go into my Learning Unit 2, and I'm going to scroll down to one of my weeks. So this week they're actually covering Play-Doh. And I click into it, and I've got my discussion forum 1, and I've also got a second discussion forum. Well, if I want to look at next week's assignment, where they're covering Aristotle, I've actually got a learning journal that they can participate in, as well as a discussion forum. And then in week 3, I believe they only have a journal entry. So those are some different ways you can integrate. You can have one discussion and a journal, or maybe one week you do a discussion board, and then the next week you do a wiki. And you can create links to these particular items within your learning units. But you can also create the course tool links on the menu. I would highly recommend creating tool links for the different types of tools that you're going to be using in your course. Since I don't have a tool link to the wikis, I'm going to go ahead and create that now. I'm going to show you how you can leave some feedback on these particular items and how you can actually interact with your students. So the first way, let's take a look at the discussion board. And you'll notice that I have dates on these particular discussions because we don't want to have everything open all at once. We want our learning modules to open and close, to have due dates. We want the same with our discussions and our journals. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on a student's post. And if you require students to interact with each other, then you'll see that there will be multiple posts per thread. And that's a good way to facilitate students talking to each other, and then you can go in and also participate on that particular thread. So you could reply to the original student. Whenever you're creating a reply back to the student, you really want to leave a little bit more information. You want to either drive home the point that they're referring to, or you want to make a correction if they've misstated something. This would be a good place to go in and make sure that the students understand the material that they are replying to and responding to. This helps so that it cuts down on confusion for all students. If you want to make sure that the students understand the topics that you're going to be covering. But once you've typed a really well thought out post, then you can just submit it. And now you've got your post down here. You can also do the same thing with the learning journal. So if I click on my Savannah student, I can leave a comment. However, I would recommend leaving the comment in the feedback to learner. Unless you're going to have a public journal, I would recommend doing the feedback to learner. That way it's a little bit easier to track what you've told each student because it's all located in one place. And you can leave it here, or you can, when you go to grade it, you can do it through the needs grading as well. So I'm going to hold off on grading right here. And then I also want to show you the course wikis. And I created a link within my learning units as well. And that takes us into the Medici Family Contributions Wiki. So that's where students can go in and edit and add their own content. And you can check the participation and grading. So I've got my preview user account, added 16 words, and my Savannah student created 16 words. If I wanted to review exactly what the breakdown, I could check the history, and then I could actually compare the versions. So this highlighted portion was created by the Savannah student. If you had multiple students, you'd be able to see how much of the contributions each student created. And also when you go to grade it, it will give you a percentage of how much participation the students had. But a wiki is also another really great way for an instructor to go in and add their own content. And now when you go back and you can compare versions, you can see this is the portion that that I, as the instructor, left. And it also changes the percentage of modification here. Now I kind of want to walk you through showing the feedback to learner. So if I go to my needs grading, this is where all of my assignments that are ready to be graded are going to be listed. So in the journal, we discussed, instead of leaving a comment on the journal entry itself, leave the feedback here in this feedback to learner. Don't forget to grade. Don't forget to grade the post. And then it will take me through again to my next assignment, which is actually just an assignment. And sometimes it can take a second for these assignments to load in this new box view. But I'm still going to go ahead and expand my attempt box. And then once it loads and I can grade it, I'll go ahead and leave, my feedback. And then put a grade in. And then this will take me to the discussion. So This will list all of one student's posts on one screen. If you want to actually do some participating in the forum as a whole, then you would go through the discussion board like I showed you previously, where I click on my discussion board and I can click into a thread, and then I've got my two students posts, and then I come back in and I respond, and that way all students can see my response. But now, if I just need to leave a very specific comment to the student, like maybe they didn't cite their sources well, or they need more information, then that would be better left on the feedback to learner. Again, don't forget to grade it. And then now I can look at the contributions for the wiki. And so that was the version 1. That was the 16 words. So this particular student only contributed 16 words, which was about 35%. And so again, when you're leaving feedback, you don't want to just put, hey, this is great. You want to kind of make sure you're helping them to improve. So if they're not leaving enough information, or if they're not giving you good sources, then it's really vital that you fill this out, and you can clarify where they may have been mistaken, or where they need to work on to improve for the next time. And again, don't forget to add a grade. And then this was my other students post for the comparison for the Medici Family Contributions Wiki. And we can compare that to version 1. And again, everything that was highlighted came from the Savannah student. And then don't forget to leave a grade. And then just click submit, and now we've done all of our grading, and we've interacted with our students. We've interacted with them on a course level as well as an individual level. Another way that you can interact with your students is the course calendar. Anytime you add a due date to an assignment, it automatically adds it to the course calendar. But if there's a particular career fair coming up, you can actually add that in and add that into the calendar, and the students will have access to be able to see, okay, this particular career fair is coming up on this day, and you can leave, the time that it's available and the description and where it's located. So you can leave detailed information to help students find a job in their upcoming degree. And then the last thing I'm going to cover is the office hours. And it can take a second to load. There's actually two things I want to go over. So you can do office hours, but you can also do a recording, like you may want to do at the end of the week, where you cover or you clarify points where students were misunderstanding, or you just do like a week summary. Like if we're talking about the Medici family, we'll talk about, okay, the Medici family, they're from Italy. This is what they contributed to the art community. And you can do like a short little video that kind of recaps the whole week's worth of lessons that you covered, and really important points that students need to pay attention to. This is helpful for their final exams, or any of their upcoming exams, so that way they know, they have a better idea of what they need to pay attention to. And then, like I said, we also have the office hours that you can join, and it will allow you to track reports of which students are attending the office hours, and how long they were in, and it will allow you to kind of keep up with, is this particular time working for my office hours, or do I need to make adjustments? So there's a lot of really useful information that you can gather with these office hours reports. And so that was just a good example of an existing course that was already at Savannah Tech. I did not build that course. And the instructor had a lot of great instructor to student and student to student interaction, and those are things that we're looking for to make sure that we're meeting our weekly contact hours. It is very important that we don't lose accreditation because the government deems that our courses are a correspondence course and not a distance education. And the main difference between those is the instructor interaction with the students. So like I said, it's very important to make sure that we're interacting with our students on a weekly basis and that we're meeting our weekly contact hours.